Good morning, everyone. I'd like to
Morning.
call the February
Morning.
25th meeting of the NSDP to order, if I may. First order of business is to approve the minutes of our January meeting. If you folks had an opportunity to look at them and wanting to go ahead and approve those, I'd like to entertain a motion to do so.
Motion.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a
I'll
second?
second.
Great.
Second, Anthony.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Great. The minutes have been approved. Seeing that there's no discussion items, Alex, I'd like you to take us to the action items on the agenda. Thanks.
Will do. Thank you. We'll try to have a very quick and efficient meeting again this month, although we do have a fair number of action items, which we're pretty pleased to present to you today. I know I probably sound like a broken record, but it's getting hard to believe that we are approaching the final couple projects of our Operation Fix It. So today we have four. These are very traditional general contracts bid projects. Both Brandy and Linda will be presenting those today, and they'll do a little bit of tag teaming going back and forth. But the first item is project number 21010, and Linda Ergeson, the project manager for that one, will take it from here. Linda, you're still on mute.
Okay. Sorry about that. It picked the wrong screen. Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right. So today we are going to go over the Operation Fix It restroom upgrades at Windsor STEM Academy, Columbus Gifted Academy, Columbus City Preparatory School for Boys, Sherwood Middle School, Academy High School, and Walnut Ridge. These renovations are for floor, wall, and ceiling finish updates, toilet partition replacements as specified in the bid documents. Here is our ad for the dispatch that was run on 1/12/21 and 1/19/21. This is our 9/12 and Ohio MBE advertisement. This is our district website advertisement. The bid was for $380,000. There were also two alternates, one for $7,500 at Eastmore to add resinous floor to the boys' restroom, and one for $8,500 to add resinous floor to the women's room at the Columbus City Preparatory School for Boys. There was a pre-bid meeting held on January 19th at 2 p.m. Sorry. This is our pre-bid meeting agenda from January 19th. This is our list of attendees. Just skipped on me. Our list of attendees. Our bid tabulation. We had total of six bids, and the low bid was $310,040. Our alternates came in at $6,250 and $6,820. That was for the Sutherland Building Company. Our architect of record is Mary Design Studio. This is their recommendation letter for the Sutherland Building Company. This is our letter to the bonding company, as they were the substantially low bidder. This is a requirement when you have a substantially low bidder in the group of bidders that is the lowest of the median. This is our board legislation to award the project to Sutherland Building Company in the amount of $310,000 and $310,040. This is a sampling of our contract form and the Community Inclusion Form A, LEDE participation form. The contractor is committed to 8% LEDE. This has been approved by Terry Weiss. Do you have any questions?
Linda, you probably answered this, so I'm sure the question has been answered as we dealt with these projects in the past, but forgive me for forgetting. When you say substantially lower in reference to the bid, are you speaking of a certain percentage below the bid or below other folks' bid, other bidders? And is there a certain percentage that you're looking at? I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm trying to get a hold of that.
It's when the bidder's bid is more than 25% below the median of all higher bids for the contract.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Chair Williams. It is one of the things that I know we've talked about, is that we're pretty pleased that bid results have all been under estimate. We do see our bids, and you'll see that as we move through the presentation, creeping closer and closer to the estimates. But when those bids are substantially low, we have a very specific set of procedures that we go through just to make sure that, number one, we're comfortable that the work can get done for the price that's quoted. And obviously, we want to make sure that the contractors can actually execute on that work for their bid price.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. Just curious. Does anyone else have any questions or comments about the project of Linda?
I'm making a motion to approve. There's no other questions or concerns.
Thank you, sir. There's been a motion.
Second.
And there is a second. Those in favor of approving project 21010, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you much, Linda. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, this will take us to item 4.02. And for this one, I will turn it over to Brandy, and she'll make the presentation.
I'm going to share. Oh, so I will have to let Linda stop sharing first, and then I can share. Okay, so let me share my screen. Hopefully you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. This is for the award of general contract to TIEFCO Incorporated for the operation to fix it at Lindbergh Elementary School, Moeller Elementary School, Westgate Alternative Elementary School, Valley View Elementary School, Buckeye Middle School, Westmore Middle School, and Marion Franklin High School. And this is for restroom upgrades Group D, project number 21011. So item number 1 is the copy of the advertisement that goes in the dispatch. The second slide is for the 912 group, Ohio MBE advertisement. Slide 3 is the advertisement that goes on the district website. It notes that the estimate for the project was $480,000. It also notes when our pre-bid conference was. It was held on Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021 at 10 a.m. and it shows the Zoom link. Item 2 is the pre-bid agenda and sign-in sheets. We have the default guideline schedule listed here. Here's the sign-in sheet that shows all the attendees that attended the pre-bid meeting. Here we have the bid tab showing TIEFCO Incorporated with their bid at $319,000. Slide 4 is the recommendation letter from the architect, Hardlines Design Company. Item 5 is a substantially low letter we sent to the bonding company. Item 6 is the legislation, which notes the dollar amount in the background project description. We have a copy of the working contract. And item 8 is LEDE Form A, noting 20%. And it is signed by Terry Wise, and it also notes that TIEFCO will be using Eagle Electric to meet their 20% LEDE goal. Do we have any questions?
Thanks, Brandy. Just have one question, and I think this might have been a point of discussion at the subcommittee meeting. Here we have a 20% LED goal, and the last project was an 8% goal. How does that differ, and why does it differ in terms of the need for that?
Can you repeat that question?
Yes, here on this particular project, there is a 20% LEDE goal.
Mm-hmm.
Last project, there was an 8% LEDE goal.
Brandy, I can take that one. So
Okay.
It is another great question. So I think what we have to remind ourselves, so this is true for all 4 of the contracts you see today. So these are bid contracts, that very traditional design bid build process. So what the requirement of our bidders is to make a good faith effort. But in the end, we are still looking for the lowest bid that is both responsive and responsible. So, we are still asking these vendors to be the low bidder. And, we've been quite pleased that on this one, you see we had 8 bidders on this particular contract. So that first threshold is to be the low bidder. And then we're also asking them to make a good faith effort to be able to achieve that 20% LEDE subcontracting goal. So we've seen that many of our vendors are able to meet that 20% goal. But if kind of in the course of buying out that contract and identifying those subcontractors, if they can demonstrate to us that they have reached out to LEDE vendors, but as a result of those bids they have received themselves for subcontracts, they are not able to achieve that 20%. What we're asking for is that demonstration that they have made that good faith effort in reaching out to those vendors. So where you see those numbers that are less than 20%, we're doing we're spending extra time with those vendors to make sure that they can demonstrate that they have in fact reached out to our LEDE vendors to attempt to hit that 20% goal. And in some cases, they're not able to.
Okay, but if, thanks, Alex, I appreciate that. But if there is, so the result is they made a good faith effort. They couldn't meet the 20% goal. But the fact that there's an 8% goal there means they do have at least 8% LED participation then. Is that correct?
You've got it. That's why you're seeing those very precise numbers sometimes, is that what they're really telling you is they've got some portion of work that they were able to identify a subcontractor for who is in the LEDE program, and that is how they're going to achieve that particular percentage.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Brandy, thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve project 21011.
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, great. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Okay, thank you much. Project has been approved.
Thank you. I'm actually going to do the next one as well. Action item 4, which is award of general contract to Lehman Damon Construction Services for Operation Fix It at Highland Elementary School, West Broad Elementary School, Indian Springs Elementary School, and Winterset Elementary School. And that is for Security Upgrades Group B, project number 21013. Here is our checklist. So item 1 is the short form advertisement that is placed in the dispatch. It ran on Thursday, 1/21 and 1/28. We have our advertisement that went into the 912 Ohio MBE. We have our long advertisement that goes on the district website that notes the estimate at $314,889. It also notes when our pre-bid meeting was held, which was Thursday, January 28th, 2021 at 10 a.m. And it notes the Zoom meeting link as well. Here's a copy of our pre-bid agenda, which notes the default guideline schedule. Here is the sign-in sheet noting all of the attendees at the pre-bid meeting. Item 3 is the bid tabulation, noting Lehman Damon with a total of $285,700 as their bid total. We have a recommendation letter from the architect, which is WSA Studio. Item 5 is the legislation, noting that dollar amount of $285,700 and the background on the project as well. Item 6, we have our working contract. Item 7 is LEDE Formed A, which notes 29% LEDE. And it is signed by Terry Wise, and it notes that Lehman Damon will be using Eagle Electrical to meet their 29% noted on this form. Do we have any questions?
One thing I will point out is that, so Brandy, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Lehman Damon is a new vendor for us.
They are.
They are a vendor that one of our architects brought to our attention that has done other public work and has been very successful in doing that. So we're very pleased to not only have a high number of bidders, but to have some new bidders coming to the table as well.
Okay, great. Seeing that there's no questions or comments, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
I motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
and a second. Those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Great, thank you, Brandy. Again, 21013 has been approved.
Thank you.
And that will take us back to Linda for item 4.04, which is project 21015. Linda, you're still on mute.
Okay, sorry. Okay, this is for security vestibule upgrades at Centennial High School, Eastmore Academy High School, Briggs High School, Johnson Park Middle School, and Buckeye Middle School. Item number 1 is our copy of the advertisement for the dispatch. And number 2 would be our 912 and Ohio MBE advertisement. This is our website advertisement. The project estimate was for $400,545. We had a pre-bid meeting January 21st at 2 p.m. Is our pre-bid meeting agenda for January 21st. Our list of attendees. Our bid tabulation, we had a total of 4 bidders. The low bid was for Miles McClellan Construction Company at $400,942. We also had an alternate to add storefront at Johnson Park. That was estimated at $8,000. The alternate they submitted was for $2,673 in their bid. So our architect of record, BB and Company, recommendation letter. Our legislation to award the project to Miles McClellan Construction Company at $400,942. The sample of our working contract and our LEDE form submitted, Form A, and a commitment to 100% LEDE participation. This is approved by Terry Weiss. Do you have any questions?
No, I do have a question. I think more than anything else, could you guys kind of give an idea of what this kind of project is? I remember us talking about it a couple of times before. It's a little different, and there were some, I don't want to say issues, but a lot of thought had to be given to how this project was developed, and some of the locations had unique situations that have to be addressed.
Yes.
Could you guys speak to that a little bit?
Yes. Our vestibules, our aim and our goal is to provide a secure entry for anyone coming into the building, where it stops them at the door and they sign in, they go through our lobby guard. And not only that, but to receive people as well. It gives them an opportunity to have face-to-face interaction that is has some layer of protection to it before people come in. So it's twofold. You know, we want security, but we also want a welcoming environment. In some of the buildings, it's complicated to create the typical entry, which is a something that is built directly into the current administrative area. Typically, we'll punch an opening in there, put a window in, put a secondary set of doors near that office at the entrance, so that when someone walks in, they have to stop at that point. They can't go any further into the building and see the secretary. Some of the schools we're doing now are high schools, middle schools. Those existing buildings have different layouts where the administrative area is disconnected from the main entry. And so I'll give you an example. Centennial, we had to create essentially a new attendance office at the main entry because the administrative area is basically far back into the core of the building. And so there you still enter in the main entry, but there's a whole new small office for a security or attendance person to receive people and stop them at that point, and then they enter the building. The technology we use for card readers and A-phones, that is maintained both at the office that is in the core of the building and at that new point of entry, so that should there not be someone at that first point, the person at the administrative office can see and let people in as they see fit.
Let me just tag on, so I would say, as just kind of an overarching goal, in the most simple terms. So we already use a lot of technology to help secure our buildings, but we don't want to rely exclusively on the technology either. So it's really setting these school entrances, visitor entrances up so that we're most leveraging the technology that we already use, like access control, intercoms, and then our lobby guard system, which has now been changed. If you hear that term lobby guard, I think the company that built that system was bought out. And so now you might hear it referred to as the Raptor system. But so we have that visitor management system. We're really trying to leverage those systems, but we're also trying to make it a very personal interface. So we really want our people interacting with the visitors as they're entering the building so that we have that human element. I always feel like at some point you have to assume that your technology is going to fail, or there's something value added in having that personal element where people are greeting people as they're coming in buildings and making sure that we can at least size up their intentions before we're just letting them into our facility.
Okay, Alex, Linda, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it much. Any other questions or comments of Linda on this project? Is there a motion to approve?
Make the motion, so moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve project 21015. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Great. The project has been approved. Appreciate you guys going through these projects with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys, Alex, you said at the beginning that we're near the end.
We are. So just to kind of give you a kind of quick look ahead so you'll understand what to expect coming forward. So we really are very near. Linda, if you'll just either go back to the agenda or stop sharing screen, one of the two. We're very near to the end of these projects. So we've been on a real tear with bidding projects since the beginning of the year. So even since this cycle, just this last Friday, we opened bids for our asphalt contract. I can tell you that our bid results are very favorable, so we're pretty pleased about that. That will come through next month. We also opened bids for another round of security vestibules last Friday. Those results are also very favorable. We have one security vestibule project that is out for bids right now. Brandy, you can probably tell us when the actual bid opening date is for that, but it will come through next month as well for your review. You're on mute, Brandy.
That'll bid on March 5th.
So that will wrap up all of our security upgrades. What you saw today was the final contracts for our plumbing / restroom upgrades. The only two projects that we have outstanding at this point are we have a major roof replacement at Centennial High School that we should have out to bid, I think, next week. So we'll advertise it for bids next week. And then our only remaining item is our lighting upgrades, which are really kind of more maintenance type work. So we're still working on putting the final touches on that contract, where we will be making LED lighting upgrades across the remainder of our buildings that we didn't address in previous years. And so those two projects, that Centennial roof and those lighting upgrades, they truly are the tail end of our Operation Fix It work. So we're very excited to be in the home stretch and excited to get our 2021 summer projects underway.
Okay, thank you for that summary.
Alex, can I squeeze in a question?
Of course.
Yes.
For those upcoming bids, how long are they open?
I don't know if I can answer that right now. I know our shortest bid window that we will post is 2 consecutive ads, a week plus a day. So I think that's essentially 3 weeks. Some of these will open longer than that. I would be surprised if we'll keep our lighting upgrades open real long, because it really is very simple work. If we keep that one open longer, it will be so that we can do walkthroughs of some of the facilities to make sure the contractors really understand what it is that we're asking them to do. And the same thing with that Centennial roof. I mean, it's much easier to do those walkthroughs when it's one building like Centennial versus the lighting upgrades, I think, are going to be at about 30 some buildings. So I would say in general, it's going to be like in that 3 to 4 week range.
Okay, thanks.
Great. Any other questions of Alex or his team?
I just have a quick one. It appears the restroom upgrades were the ones that
we were short on the LED percentage with the 9%. Is there anything we can do to encourage that sector to be more LED compliant for what we're trying to do in the future as we look towards future bids?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Dr. Herrick. I don't know if I have any like immediate response for you. Well, one of the things that I stew on a lot is the difficulty we have. So I think we've had great success in getting those LEDE numbers up overall. We've had some contracts that are going to be 100% because the primes are LEDE themselves. We've had some that have not been able to meet the goal, like one of the ones you saw today. I think one of the best things we can do is to try to be consistent. So one of the concerns that I always have is that, so I'm excited that we're in the home stretch of Operation Fix It. But in terms of sustaining this work, it's going to be really important that we find a sustainable source of funds so that we can continue this work going forward when the work ebbs and flows. So at least at this point right now, I don't have any plans for this kind of work for summer of 2022. I think it's incredibly important that we be able to build those relationships, that those vendors can know with some comfort that they can invest in that kind of building of their companies, and that we will continue to have work to support them, just like we're going to ask them to support us. So I know that's a very general question. I don't know if I have any other specific things that I think we can do. I know that we have done some vendor fairs to help help our contractors make sure they understand what that work looks like in advance, so they can kind of plan. That's a question I'd probably stew on a little bit and come back with maybe some additional ideas.
Alex, if I could add, and I was going to maybe bring this up in new business, but Curtis had mentioned earlier, we had quite a bit of discussion in the technical oversight subcommittee on that first bid. And I think part of the discomfort that we have in a project like that is where we had all of the bidders but one be below the estimate, and having a 100% LEDE vendor below estimate, but we award the contract because of a few dollars of greater savings to a firm that only has 8% of the goal that's stated by our board of 20%. So, that, and we understand there are some legal issues or challenges, or I guess we're in a position in some cases on what we can award and what the construction delivery approach. But I also know that it can feel very disingenuous to the public. If we set a goal of 20%, we can achieve a goal of 20% or greater, still save money on a project, but don't award it. And I would really like our committee, maybe because we do not have a whole lot of projects that will go on after these, that maybe we spend a little bit of time, looking at ways that we may be able to put a little bit more teeth in our approach. I mean, those of us who have done public projects, we always know that we have the lowest and best, and typically best has been reserved for qualifications, experience. If we have our Board of Education setting some goals, that maybe best needs to be included or expanded a little to deal with some of these issues, especially when we're under the budget. Price is much easier to argue when you're trying to hold it to a budget, but when you're under and can achieve some of that, it's just a challenge. And I would hate to, at a minimum, maybe we need to arm the board members a little bit more, so when the public talks about it, there's a little bit more of a definition or a description of why. But I would say our committee, our group, can look at it maybe a little bit more in depth with you and other members of your staff, just to make sure we're not missing something. It's just doesn't sit well.
If you'll entertain me, Mr. I have both Mr. and Ms. co-chairs. So I did not put it on our discussion items, and I certainly don't have a presentation, but I think Mr. Russell makes a very good point, because so we did just award a facility master planning contract. And so we are getting ready to dive into that work. And the results of that work are going to be over a year away. But I don't think it's any mystery that behind that will be a request for funding to be able to restart our major construction program. And so, to Mr. Russell's point, I think it would be a great time to start having those discussions as we're making those plans for financial and, the bricks and sticks, how do we reinforce and bolster this LEDE program to get the best possible results for the community?
Well, yeah, thanks, Alex. I appreciate that. And Jim and I did have the subcommittee did have a conversation on it, and Jim and I have since talked about it. This is, in this environment we're in, it become a greater issue, and so we have to strive to look at better ways of doing things. So certainly appreciate the opportunity to kind of have discussion on it a little deeper, a little further, so that we can make sure things are done openly and transparently, and we get the right results. So certainly appreciate that. Nothing else formal on the agenda. Are there any comments from the administration or the board? Okay, hearing none. Guys, thank you for your time this morning. As always, I certainly appreciate the conversation, and Alex, appreciate the great work you guys are doing.
Thank
Is there a
you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right,
Second.
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 Oh, nice. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Talk to you all soon.
Okay.
All
Have a
right.
good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.